Hi everyone, welcome back to Black Girl Who Manifests. If you are new here, my name is Sasha, and on this channel, we talk about African spirituality and decolonization. In this video, I want to talk about altar building. More specifically, the relational type of altar building, not necessarily the aesthetic altar building that we see a lot online. We all know an altar is not simply about candles, crystals, or food placed once and then just forgotten about. An altar is a relationship in physical form. And like every relationship, it survives or collapses based on two things: consistency and reciprocity. So in this video, we'll break down what these two pillars actually mean, why some spiritual practices feel silent or even ineffective, and how your relationship with your spiritual team is built or even weakened through how you show up. So to ground this conversation, we're going to analyze a passage from a Kemetic-based spiritual text, and then we will expand it using ancestral logic. So before we even touch on the juicy stuff, right, offerings or rituals, we need to correct something. Altar building is not necessarily about feeding spirits because they are weak and they constantly need our help. It's about maintaining spiritual relationships through order, remembrance, and that exchange. And in many different African cosmologies, the spiritual world and the physical world are not separate realities. They are interdependent layers of each other. So if you want spiritual intervention, guidance, or protection, you must be recognizable in the invisible realm. And recognition comes mainly from patterned engagement. And that's where the topic of consistency enters. So let's take a look at this passage together. There should always be some food samples on the shrine, constantly replenished to maintain their freshness. They should go to the shrine every evening, perhaps also every morning, to spend time speaking to the ancestors. The most important time is spent there at night prior to going to bed. The ancestors must have clear instructions and should be invited to come in a dream. So at first glance, to me at least, this sounds simple, right? Almost obvious. But embedded in this passage are three major principles that I have pulled out: consistency, communication, and instruction. And in the same breath, I could say, notice what's not emphasized, right? Emotional desperation, drama, blind worship. So again, we are not begging the spirits. We are normalizing a relationship. So just like you don't randomly call a friend or text a friend once every 6 months and then expect intimacy, you don't engage the ancestors sporadically and then expect clarity. Consistency is mainly about predictability. When you show up at the altar regularly, even briefly, you are doing something very specific. You are making yourself visible in the invisible realm. What spirits recognize as rhythm, and they respond to cycles, they move through repetition. Kind of like us, right? On Earth. That's kind of how we also live our lives. And this is why this passage emphasizes that daily presence, evening time, and especially before sleep. And that's something I want to focus on. Why before sleep? Why at nighttime? Because sleep is a liminal state. Your conscious defenses are lowered and communication becomes easier. Dreams are one of the oldest forms of ancestral communication. And I know for me, my ancestors definitely communicate heavy when it comes to dreams. But ancestors don't necessarily show up because you want them to. They show up when the relationship is safe, consistent, and structured. Now let's shift our focus to reciprocity, because this is where people maybe get a bit uncomfortable or don't fully understand everything. So offerings are not bribes. They are acknowledgements of exchange. So in many of our spiritual systems, nothing flows one way. Give because someone gave before you, or someone is still giving, or someone will give after you. Reciprocity is essentially saying, I recognize that I am not self-made. That's it. So when we give food offerings, libations, and so on, these are symbolic and energetic acts of remembrance and respect. They say, I see you, I remember you, you are still part of the community. And as we know, any community that has a value to it does not exist without contribution. So I want to talk about who needs offerings in the spiritual concepts that we're talking about. We have ideological ancestors and we have biological ancestors. Ideological ancestors are ancestors whose earthly lives may not have been fully aligned with Ma'at. So they may not have been living essentially a good life. They are still evolving in the invisible realm. Offerings, prayers, and rituals help elevate them, heal unresolved imbalances, assist their progression. Now, biological ancestors are your blood ancestors, and they also require acknowledgement. And this is not because they have any weakness or so on, but because relationship keeps them active. Offerings help them remain connected to the lineage, act as protectors and guides, and also become eligible for reincarnation, depending on the tradition we're talking about. So just remember, in terms of giving offerings and why we do in general, it's because spiritual hierarchy does not cancel relational responsibility. So even if one being does not need your offering, the relationship itself still matters. Spiritual teams basically operate like families, like communities, and like networks. And when these relationships are maintained well, intervention becomes possible. But also when they are neglected, violence is mainly them creating that distance. It's not necessarily punishing you. So at the end of the day, altar building is relational, like I mentioned many times. And just like in the physical world, the relationships you maintain can protect you and sustain you. The relationships you neglect might fade, and the relationships built on balance sustain you. Consistency and reciprocity keep the door open and the bond alive. And when your spiritual relationships are healthy, your life does tend to reflect that health. Not necessarily because spirits are controlling your fate, but because you are in the right relationship with those who walk with you across realms. So just remember, relationships take time, even spiritual ones. So don't be in a rush to build or in a rush to copy what you see everybody else doing. Spend some time learning, spend some time reading. And if you would like to know more and learn more and read more about this topic, I highly recommend that you buy my book, The Introduction to Kemetic Cosmogony. We talk about altars, relationship building, offerings, sacred arrangement, and of course, ancestral veneration. I have my link in bio and I have it also below in the caption of this video. I would also appreciate that you leave a nice review of this book. Let me know what you enjoyed about it, what you learned about it too. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a comment below, like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I will see you in the next video. Bye.